As you can see, I've kind of messed it up this morning a little bit with our open door news that was coming on next. Simply push the wrong button and there you are, it all goes wrong. This is the problem when you're trying to do a show and produce the damn thing and direct it at the same time. But there you are. I'm sure our audience is going to forgive us for our little mishaps that we have here. So a big welcome to Ian. And a big welcome to Queen. I hope I pronounced that. Queen D. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I've just actually replied to her, Mike. Okay. If it is a female, I do apologise. Please know, guys, we do have a few videos and other things that we get through during our shows. So unfortunately, we don't do live readings on here. Please contact Mike or myself privately if you do want a reading so it can be organised in private because, you know, my issue that I have with live readings, I sometimes get personal information and you don't know who the next person is that's watching the show. It could be something relating to them as well that could also be private or information they don't receive. So, you know, it's best to do them confidentially in private. Okay, yeah, that's my personal view on readings. Okay, you know, guys.
What also happens, the same thing kind of happens sometimes when we do. In America, they call it gallery readings. I think in Australia, it's the same as the UK. We call it platform.
Platform, yes.
So where you've got a group of people there, and what happens is you're talking to somebody, giving them a reading, and sometimes you're getting messages for the person that's sitting next to them.
Sitting next to them as well.
Doing it on Skype or Zoom is no different because the energy doesn't recognise borders or distance. So anyway, so there we are. So Queen has just left you another message which you can reply to her in when we've perhaps got a segment going. You can private message her.
Yeah. Now someone is sending us heaps of love. So I'm just going to return some love here too with whoever's doing that. I can't see their face. Alrighty, so there you go. We've got some awesome love hearts coming up on the screen already, Mike.
Super duper.
Whoa, and they're still coming out.
Yeah.
Look, who's doing that?
Yeah.
Who is doing that? Oh, my God. It doesn't matter who it is. It's someone appreciating, isn't it, and being thankful, because that's what our shows are all about, darling. It's all about thanks. Look, I'll even send some out there too. There you go. I know it's you, Melinda. Because I can see her face and all the little love hearts going up. Good on you, darling. Okay. All right. So I just want to announce, Mike, tonight I am giving away another free copy of my book, 5 Years in Heaven.
Okay.
It's 369 pages. It is an email formatted PDF. So at some point during the show, Mike, I'll just get you to read out a random number.
Okay.
I've got 13 comments that people want to get a copy. So between 1 and 13, whenever you feel like doing it, I've got the list here. I won't show the list, but I do have a list here of people's names with them. So, yay, I love giving away stuff for free.
Yeah.
Ooh, it makes me feel good.
Super.
Feeling good. Do.
I mean, you know, if next week, if I get the opportunity, it might not be next week because of my schedule, but a lot of the readings I do, and I'll keep the names private, and obviously I'll change the names, but I get a lot of readings, and some of them are psychic readings, rather evidential mediumship readings.
Yeah.
And I'm going to publish the answers to these questions that people ask, keeping it completely private by changing the names and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And if I can get that done, it'll only be about 20 letters. I call it letters to a psychic. Even though I'm not a psychic, I'm a medium. But it's just something we can give away for people because it really, a lot of these questions that people have asked, really everyone can understand, and it may help them with their problems as well. So,
and that's one reason why last Sunday I started doing my weekly tarot. You know, it's using the cards that I got from Louise Benton, which I've got here. Mm-hmm. You know, I've had a lot of feedback saying that it was an awesome video. Right. So if you do want to watch it, guys, that's on YouTube at Dr. Dr. Linda Kramer. Okay. Cramer. I forgot how to spell my own name then. Well, I've got 4 surnames. Which one do you want me to use? Gosh, you know, I've been married 3 times plus my maiden name, and I'm very open about how many surnames I've actually got. So, yeah, if you watch me on YouTube, guys, then, you know, I've got the free tarot there. I'm actually thinking about doing a midweek one as well, using just my normal deck, you know, because I do like just giving away stuff for free, you know, because it creates that gratitude. It creates that appreciation from others receiving stuff for free. And, you know, I don't do it for that recognition, obviously. I just do it to build that positive energy that the world so desperately needs right now, you know. Yeah. Oh, Kimberly Smith, great read. Thank you, Kimberly. She's actually got a copy.
Right.
I sent it to her last week. Yep, she's actually responded and said that she's already got a copy of it. So how awesome is that? That, you know, she got that last week. She didn't even know she was getting it.
Yeah.
That's the, you know, I love those random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
You know, I truly do try and do random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So it is gorgeous that. You know, people are showing their true colours in this weirdness. You know, true colours are coming out. If you are a genuine, kind, loving person, that's just going to excrete out of you like sweat.
Yeah.
And there's going to be no denying that people can smell it on you.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, what a lovely person that person is. You know, so I'm absolutely loving that that's what's happening at this point, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, just how many people, you know, even the ones who used to go to work 9 to 5, come home, cook dinner, go to bed, and then get up and go to work, they're now starting to do gorgeous things for other people as well.
Yeah.
You know, checking up on their neighbours. Hey, are you okay? Do you need me to get you some groceries because I'm going down the shop today?
Yeah.
You know, that sort of stuff that people are just starting to do is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is really quite amazing. And I mean, I don't want to go there, but I think it has to be said because as hard as certain factions of society have tried to divide the people, actually, people are coming together. Both sides, those who have and those who haven't, are actually not standing for it. And this is a beautiful thing where we're now beginning to see behind the curtain and who's actually, and it's wonderful.
I think what's happening, Mike, is people are realising that it's not their neighbours, it's not their co-workers, it's not their family or friends that are starting this. They're really starting to see who really is responsible for all this hogwash, and they're seeing through it now. You know, it doesn't matter whether you've had it or you haven't. People are starting to wake up. You know, there is a huge march in
more of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, there is a huge march in the city on Saturday. You know, they're global. This is Saturday. Head to your major city because there's masses of marches and parades again. I don't want to say the protest word because they're not. They are just saying, hey, I don't want you to tell me what I should do. Because at the end of the day, we all have free will. This is a spiritual concept that we live by. We all have our own free will to say what we want to do. You know, if I want to give up doing my spiritual work and go and get a job at a bank, that is my sole discretion whether I do that through free will. So I don't want to be told by any authoritative body that I need to do anything for them. Sorry, I live in a free society, which most countries are a free society. And, you know, so that's why all these people now, there's this unity. You know, one of the great banners that we have here in Australia, it says, Australia united will never be divided. How, you know, you can put any country at the top of that slogan. Austria united will never be divided.
Will be this weekend, by the way.
Oh, I've heard the news of what's happening in Austria, darling. You know, it's it absolutely amazes me that these people are still walking around. You know,
Mhm.
if they obviously know how many people are angry with them at this point.
Mm.
I'd be walking around with 20,000 bodyguards myself.
Yeah.
The armored shields wherever I went,
Yeah.
because that just shows you how cocky they are at the end of the
Well,
day.
you
You
know,
know?
you know what, people, we spoke about this off air, me and Linda, and we've all been receiving, those who are intuitive psychic, or even some psychic, just some ability to open up to the possibility, have all been receiving information that what we need this weekend and all these peace walks is the
Yes.
light of the psychic energy.
That's right. Well, every psychic I know here in Brisbane, I know about 15 other psychics, we're all getting messages to go on Saturday.
Yeah.
We're all going.
Yeah.
And that is so beautiful in itself. I'm getting these, I think even Raylene Cable, she's a famous psychic.
Mm-hmm.
She only lives about half an hour drive from me. I even think she is going.
Right.
She was on Australia's Most Haunted, a TV show on TV. So she is a celebrity here in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she is even going in this weekend.
Yeah.
Because we're all getting the messages
Yeah.
that we must unite. No discrimination, no segregation.
No.
Just allow people to be who they are,
Yeah.
standing strong together and saying, we will not take this anymore because we have free will, So I am so looking forward to taking my daughter in there. She's only 15. But, imagine her in 60 years when she'll be older than us, Mike. I don't want to go there with our ages because we're still young little fillies. But, in 50, 60 years, she'll be able to stand up and say, you know what, I was there at those marches screaming at the top of my lungs for unity.
Yeah.
I was screaming for joint fellowship, love.
Yeah.
All those beautiful expressions that I live by. So I am so proud that, I asked my daughter if she wanted to go in on Saturday and she said yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what an amazing day. They're expecting tens of thousands on Saturday.
Yeah.
So it will be good. It will be good.
Well, we better march on here, Linda.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
So,
speaking of marches, we better march on. Ha ha ha! You cracked the joke and you didn't even know it, Mike. All right, so who are we going to look at first today, Dale?
We're going to do the news first. A little news segment that we got. It's a 3-minute news segment. We're working on the structure of it, but we'll run this. See what you think. Here we go.
Yeah, let's go then.
Hello, my name is Caterina Campagna, and I'm here today with the news segment called The Open Door. Just here is where you're going to find stories that'll make you go, or simply, what the? Let's start off today's segment by talking about the rise in beliefs of people's precognitive abilities. That's right. It seems that during these times of unparalleled confusion, people are seeking more the counsel of those known as psychics, intuitives, soothsayers, or even snake oil salesmen if you're a total non-believer, depending on what you think. And it's just gone up, and apparently it means that in a time of such uncertainty and loss of control, people are seeking refuge in those who claim to have a knowledge of what's going to happen next. Sort of a spiritual stock market, if you want to look at it that way. And it seems that this is not the only time in history that that's happened. Guess who was alive during the time of a plague, who unfortunately took his wife and child? The healer, medic, and seer known as Nostradamus. And there's also a rise in ghost detection activities, paranormal investigations. In fact, a man named Alex Matsu in North Carolina has gone to cemeteries that seem like a spooky sight with tombs and tall oak trees lining the floor. And he goes in there and investigates with detection devices, one of which being a Mel meter, an object that records spikes in temperatures and electric voice phenomenon. Interesting, huh? Also on the docket for today's stories is a man called Noah. He claims to be from, get this, the year 2030. Now, he's gone on appearances, always disguised with facial and voice distortion because he fears for his life. He doesn't want people from his dimension to catch on to what he's doing. So he does all this kind of on the DL, if you know what I mean. Now, I know it sounds crazy to think that somebody was sent here from 2030, but think about this. He's passed an FBI lie detector test. That's right, passed it. That means that in his mind, he is really from the year 2030. And he's also said that it's because of a device that he's able to do this that's planted in his wrist. And guess what? A little metal device does show up on his X-ray, exactly where he says it is. So there's some more things for you to ponder and dig into and enjoy and talk about with your friends. So until the next time, I have been Caterina Campagna. Thank you for listening. And as always, stay curious, my friends.
I don't know if I'm going crazy, but did we have that segment last week? Did I load up the wrong one? I'm not sure. I've heard so many. My brain's gone a little bit foggy. But anyway,
I don't know. But I don't dwell on the past, darling. So the first thing I want to go with is Katerina. I love that intro. Okay, I saw the little plane going from New York across to Austria, and I thought that looks like Indiana Jones. You know? I absolutely loved it. But then at the end, she's got it going down to Brisbane as well. Yeah. And I thought, oh my God, now I do have the goosebumps because she's put me in there too. But I wasn't preparing for that because I saw just New York over to Austria, and I absolutely loved it, you know? Yeah. That boom effect that she has in there. Oh God, we're seeing this woman's sense of humor now, you know? Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So that's just some feedback on Katerina because I loved it, the way that she's put this together.
Yeah, we're working on it, we're developing it, and we're gonna at some point get a green screen at the back there and jazz it up
it's all
a little
good.
bit. Yeah.
Well, there's always backgrounds on a video. Hello. How many times have I put a new background on the back of me? Okay, I want to go serious now.
Thank you.
Alex Matsu. Okay? Alex Matsu. With his Mel meter out in the cemeteries. Yeah. Yes, I have to agree with this because that veil between the dimensions is thinning. There are a lot of people now waking up to paranormal activity. Yeah. And I don't mean just waking up in the middle of the night and there's a ghost sitting at the end of your bed. If you're lucky to have that, it scares the heck out of me. Yeah. It scares the heck out. So I've actually stopped them from doing that one. I don't like it. But, people are now waking up. They're using their intuition, okay? Because, we do have a big imbalance now. We used to be balanced, but until this thing started where it's going down, guess what happens on the yin-yang other end of it? So now people's energies are raising up and they're becoming more intuitive. They're becoming more psychic, which is awesome. I'm loving it, And then when she spoke about Noah, who's from 2030, I know it is extremely hard to fool those FBI lie detector tests.
Yeah.
It's extremely hard to fail to actually pass them unless you firmly do believe that you're from that time. You know, I'd love to do some testing on whatever it is that he's got in his wrist, you know, but, you know, you think of it, 2030 is only 9 years away. Do we all have one of these things in our wrist?
Who knows?
Is that what's coming?
Yeah.
Well, I just heard no.
Yeah.
Hello, I just heard no.
Yeah.
Okay, that's from her, by the way. She just said, no, not everyone's getting these things in your wrist, Linda. Don't worry about it. Okay? But, you know, but whatever he's got in his wrist, that would be interesting to see what it was and what it does. Yeah. You know?
And of course, Linda, his cunning plan to hide his face so that he wouldn't be recognised from people on his... has failed completely, as we've just shown his face.
Boom, boom, as Katrina would do in her show. Boom, boom. Hang on. I don't know. I can't make the same sort of noises as what she did. That was awesome,
Ka-clunk.
that effect that she did.
Yeah.
There, the ka-flog.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I love that video. I really do love the way that she puts it together.
Yeah.
You know, I love the way she speaks. You know, I love that intro that she's put together, and especially the end. Yeah. Hello, but you know, I wasn't expecting to see Brisbane at the end of it. You know, I was just when I saw it, I just went, yes, yes, because I'm not egotistical. I don't care if people don't put me into it. You know, but then at the end when it goes down to Brisbane, I went, oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Okay,
it's cute.
Linda, first one.
Yeah.
The pub chair. It's a little teaser to get us into the second one, which is really interesting. So, you know, a lot of things happen in pubs for some reason. I don't know what it is about public houses. Maybe they happen everywhere, but and just the attention of people is on public houses. But here we go. We got a little chair tormenting the life out of this lady who's trying to sit peacefully and do her thing. So let's just run this, and then the next one is the real one with the chairs moving. So here we go. Let's have this little teaser.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Random Videos. Hayley Butt, who has worked at the Lansdowne pub in Cardiff for years, says she's become accustomed to strange things happening throughout the years. From chairs randomly moving to chalkboards swinging, there's a long-term rumor among the regulars about a woman haunting the pub.
Well, I'll tell you what, either someone's gone through a lot of trouble to Photoshop that chair moving, because those chairs are not heavy, but, you know, it takes some doing to, I would think, pull that off. What do you think?
But you know what really bugged me, Mike?
Yeah.
That table is right in the middle of the camera.
Yeah. It's always the way, isn't it?
How many tables would be in that restaurant?
Yeah.
And they just have that camera facing straight at that table?
Yeah.
Because you can see a doorway behind her. Yeah. So wouldn't you have it like aimed at the doorway, you know, so then you can identify people that didn't pay their bill or something, you know, leaving without paying, or, you know, they pick up someone's handbag so they're walking out that door. So that's my issue, that they're showing that table.
Yeah.
Yeah, but getting off that, you know, I love the effect with the chair, if it's real, because I'm not there to actually see what's going on. Yeah. But, you know, the lady's just sitting there and she looks at it like, what? It was almost like she didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because she's reading a book and she must have seen it out of her peripheral, and it was like, what? What did I just see? What did I just see? You know, so she didn't go overboard like, whoa, or, you know, like it was expected, and to put in that dramatics, you know. So I like that she didn't really respond that much.
Right.
You know, it was like, what was that? You know, what was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but either way, it's a good little video. I liked it. Hello.
Yeah.
You know, because I've seen chairs and things slide around all over the place, and that's exactly how they move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this next one, we're going to see some chairs moving all over the place. So I put that one in as a little teaser.
That's right.
What's this? Irish Murphys and Treasury Casino are both haunted. Is that...
They must be... Oh, Tanya does live here in Brisbane, because I've actually met Tanya in face. Hello, Tanya. Thanks for viewing tonight, darling. Irish Murphys is a pub in the city, and so the Treasury Casino is the casino in Brisbane City. Right. Yes. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of activity. My dad... back in the late 1950s, he actually worked at the Treasury, because that used to be the the revenue centre, where they used to check. It was through the revenue where they used to write everybody's weekly pay slips, of the checks. You know, so that was the revenue centre. So that's, back in the late 1950s, my dad worked there, and now they've made it into the Treasury Casino. There's a lot of interesting stuff that's happened in that building, Tanya. You don't have to tell me. Yeah.
She danced there for years, she says.
Well, I used to live not far from there, because I used to live in the city. It was about a 3-block walk down from where I had my unit in the city, and I'd go there at night time. I'd finish work at like 2 a.m., so I'd go down there at like 2:30 in the morning. I'd get down there, and just weird things, because it's hardly, there's hardly anyone in there at 2:30 in the morning. I used to just go in there for a little cup of tea. Yeah. Or should I say a cup of VODKA, so that I could walk home and try and sleep while the sun came up,
So, Linda, when you say you used to get down, was it like Saturday Night Fever, getting down like this to go to the phone?
You don't want to know what happens in my past stays in the past, Mike. Okay. But yes, I have been known to be a little radical. I'm not the person that you can dare to do anything, because I'll just go and do it. Okay. Because I don't get embarrassed, and I have no shame. So, people say, oh, Linda, pick your dress up and run around showing off your undies type of thing. I will do that, because I don't feel embarrassment, which is, it's only when we have like insecurities and what would I say? We take on board what other people think of us. I don't have any of that. I don't care what other people think of me, because that's my confidence. I've got that confidence. I don't care what other people think of me. So, I'm happy to, people say, oh, Linda, don't go into that haunted location. I'll be the first one walking in there. Yeah. Because I just don't care what other people think of me.
Well, there is an old saying, isn't it? When you really, really don't care what anyone thinks about you, you've reached a dangerously high point of freedom in your life.
And that's me.
And that doesn't mean be arrogant, give them the finger.
Oh, no. No, I'm not arrogant. But
I think in the 4 agreements, excuse me, he says, whatever anyone thinks about you is none of your business.
That's right. That was actually Eleanor Roosevelt who said that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when she married Roosevelt, the president of the USA, the media were giving her a hard time because she was actually going out feeding homeless people. Right. And, oh, my gosh, the First Lady of America can't be associated with homeless people. So she actually made a public statement, and it was, what other people think of me is none of my business.
Yeah.
So strong, those words. That was 150 years ago that she wrote that. So, that's where I'm at too, darling. I just don't care what other people think of me. Obviously, if it's, feedback that I can take on board and learn from, of course I take it on board. Yeah. Especially if it's a public health and safety problem. Oh, Linda, you shouldn't do that because you could catch cholera, something like that. Of course, then I use rational thinking with it. Yeah. But, but with paranormal, darling, I've got no hesitation.
Right.
And that is that, what would you call it? That, as you just said, that's where we are viewed as a threat, you know, by other people who just hesitate because they're so consumed with what other people think, or, oh, is this good enough to put on YouTube? Look at my YouTube videos, how amateur they are, because I don't do it for the amateur or professional of it. It's the content that comes out of my mouth, you know? So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you
I don't care
what
what I look like.
Linda, I've no doubt.
Let's keep going. I want to look at these chairs moving around,
I've
Mike, because
no
this is a
doubt
really good one.
you would be the first into this place if you had
I
the offer.
really would be. Yes.
Okay, let's fire away. Let's see what we got.
His friend hears a thumping sound on the stairs as someone was walking upstairs, making them more cautious of the spirits. Later, after going downstairs, they follow a weird crunching sound coming from the other rooms, and as they enter, suddenly 4 chairs move, leaving the 2 of them scared. There is no explanation to how this could happen except if it is a ghost messing with these Russian people and telling them in a way to make them leave. In the previous clip, it is shown that while they proceed to investigate the hall where it got way too silent after some crashing noises, his friend stands on stairs and runs as soon as he sees the door opening by itself, making his friend run too. It is seen that entity follows them upstairs, closing each room, making them unable to run outside to create fear.
Well, a very naughty ghost and a very angry ghost. And actually, Ian says WTH, and we all know that means, wow, that's fantastic. But
well, that was fantastic.
a very, very angry bunch of spirit there. Linda, what are your thoughts? I'll be honest with you. I'd be out there in a flash. I've done my share of all that stuff, and it ain't funny. And
I know.
And I would say thank you. I take your point. I'm gone. And unless, of course, I'd been sent in there to actually do a proper job rather than just a ghost hunt. But that's me. Linda, I love to hear what you've got to say.
You see these memes on Facebook and it says, would you stay in this location? And it's $1 million for 24 hours. I'd be there. I would absolutely love to go in there.
Yeah.
Because there was one thing in there that I absolutely loved. Are you ready for it?
Yep.
Those chairs did not get thrown towards the guys videoing.
Yeah.
So they weren't to harm.
Mm.
They weren't trying to push, like they were on the stairs. Those guys were walking on the stairs. They weren't pushed down to hurt them.
No.
Because I've been pushed downstairs.
Mm.
I've had car engines thrown at me, remember?
Yeah.
I know what it's like when you're up against an angry ghost who does want you out.
Yeah.
I think this is, I've looked at the chairs going back and forward, and there is no way that we can debunk this because they go straight towards a wall.
Yeah.
So there's no strings.
No.
They're against a wall. And look how violently they all move.
Yeah.
So, those guys in that house, they weren't harmed. They weren't pushed down the stairs.
Mm.
Nothing was thrown at them.
No.
So I would go into that location absolutely 100%.
Mm.
I'd be a little bit alarmed when it happened. Of course, my heart would be boom, 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 out on my chest. But that's why they invented Valium, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I sort of kind of had the feeling that they were children there rather than adults.
Yeah, they're pranksters.
Yeah.
They're pranksters. Whoever's doing that is a prankster.
Yeah.
And, I'd be walking in there and just sitting on the chair and say, hey, can you push me around? Like a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Let them have a game.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want to do. All the doors going crazy. They're bored ghosts.
Yeah.
So go in with something that they can do. Take in something that rolls around and watch it go around, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I'd be walking in there with like pillows to see if they have a pillow fight and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I really do believe that they would do that, you
Yeah.
know, but I'd go in there. Would I go alone? Yeah. I reckon it'd be cool because I'm so used to it. That's what I've got to admit. I've got to
Well,
really stress here with people.
Yeah.
I am used to things moving around because my house, things move here every day. As I do have 3 identified ghosts in my house, you know, plus Roy's next door. He pops in every now and again. You know, so that'd be 4 with Roy if he ever came over because he's been in my house. He knows that house, so of course he'd come here. So I'm used to things moving by themselves, you know. But for somebody who's never experienced that, that would be a total traumatic experience.
Yeah.
You know, it's as I say to people, you know, when you're opening up to paranormal or even using your intuition, you don't go out surfing on a tsunami when you're learning this stuff. You start in the shallows. You only want to see little things first, like a flicker of light or a knock, you know, and then you as you get used to that, you ask the next thing and the next thing, and then you build up to going into that sort of room with all the doors and chairs moving around. You know, you wouldn't want that because that would be too traumatic, and then people would say, oh, no, I don't want to do this anymore, you know. So, that's a line I like using. It's if you're learning to surf, you don't go out the first time into a tsunami. No. You know, you don't. You learn it in little bits first, guys.
Well, here's a question for you. Kimberly says, is Roy still troubling the new neighbours? Yeah.
She was talking to me only a few days ago.
Right.
You know? Well, what they've done in Roy's house is they took out all the carpet and they've put in vinyl flooring.
Right.
So
he's not a happy bunny.
They're hearing footsteps every night going up and down the hallway. You know, and I'm just sitting there laughing at it because you know, it's a good confirmation from me to hear it from the new people that live in there. They're not owners, they're renters, you know, tenants. And you know, for her to come over the other day and just say, Linda, we're hearing all these noises. Is he really nice? And I said, yes, darling, he is really nice. Don't worry about him. He was an old guy. He's all right. Yeah. You know. So there you go. So thank you so much for asking, Kimberly, because, yes, Roy is still active. Right. Okay.
All righty.
I just laugh. I laugh. So why does he stay there? Well, he built that house. Yeah. He's still protecting that house. Yeah. He loved that house.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's I'm actually writing my book now. It's called Ghosts and Spirits Exposed. Mm-hmm. I got 45 pages written today, guys. Hello, because I just got powered in. It's 5:30 this morning I started writing. I just woke up with all these epiphanies of stuff I had to write in it. And, you know, by 12 o'clock my fingers are all swollen like this and I'm thinking, what have I done to myself? But, you know, I really do go into the why ghosts stay. You know, it's an educational book. This one, I really like it. You know, I explain all the science and I explain all the psychology as to why ghosts want to stay around, or spirits, you know, why they want to pop in. Yeah. So it's like a educational book. You know, it's like being at school learning a new subject. Here you go. You got to learn paranormal today. So I'm really keen to get this one done, Mike, because I think there's going to be a lot of interest in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just how I'm writing it. Wow.
Super.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goody good. Saved by an Angel.
Yes!
Linda. This is a scuba diving incident. Where they were saved by an angel. I mean, I won't do a spoiler alert, but I will say, you know, why in the hell would anyone want to do what these people have done for the sake of getting some oysters?
I thought exactly the same thing, Mike. And I don't swim, okay? I get petrified of water. You know, I can't swim for one, and without these, I can't see a thing, you know, 2 inches in front of my face.
Yeah.
But, oh, my gosh. wait till you see, guys, where these guys go just to get a couple of oysters.
Yeah, I mean, and
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
it kind of like the ghost hunters there in the previous section. You know, you've got to be prepared. If you play with fire, so to speak, you expect to get burnt. So you go into the ghost hunt. You know, you're setting the intention for these entities to come to you. You know, you're going scuba diving in the most precarious of places, and I might go a little bit radical here, to destroy a life for your own food, where you don't
Yeah.
actually need to do that.
Yeah.
When these little oysters here are minding their own business, or crabs, whatever, minding their own business. And so in
Crustaceans, there you go. Get it right, crustaceans.
In many ways, you're playing with fire and they've got burnt. So anyway, let's have a look at this. And
Let's go and watch what happens to
see what
these poor
everyone
guys.
thinks. Here we go.
Yep.
Rudy Smith and his friend Scott Schindler of Hawaii were both professional divers working at a U.S. Navy research laboratory. But their goal on this afternoon was strictly pleasure. They were on a lobster hunt, headed for an underwater cave where Rudy had never failed to find them by the dozen.
Just the two of us went out. We knew what we were going to do. It was short and sweet. We were going to anchor the boat, jump in the water, go down, grab some lobster, come right back out and head back.
Because of the short duration of the dive, they each wore partially filled tanks with a limited air supply.
The tanks had at least enough air to last 20 minutes at the depth we were working. We felt real safe in using those tanks because this is something we'd done before.
The divers paused every 10 or 15 feet to equalize, a process that helped them adapt to the depths. If they stayed down too long, they would have to allow time for similar pauses on the way back up to avoid contracting the bends.
Whenever you dive deep, there's always a risk of the bends, absorbing too much nitrogen in the body. The most serious cases, the body basically explodes from the inside out. You cough up your lungs.
The entrance to the cave was very narrow, so one at a time, Rudy and Scott removed their tanks and pushed them down the narrow passageway ahead of them.
My tank in front of me would catch on things. My shoulders would bump into the walls. It was just a tight experience, like being pinched for a little bit till you could wiggle through it.
The end of the passageway opened up into a cavern. The divers split up to sweep opposite sides of the lobster-filled cave. If nothing went wrong, Rudy and Scott would have 10 minutes to choose their lobsters and return to the surface.
I probably picked up 2 or 3 lobster and put them in my bag when I heard a very distinct voice, and it said 2 words, "Get out."
Rudy looked to his friend to see if he had called out, but Scott was busy collecting lobsters.
I had no idea where the words came from, let alone where a voice would come from, and I just disregarded it. The voice resonated again and said, "Get out now." Just as clear as if a person were a few feet away from you, speaking very directly, demanding you do something right now.
Before Rudy had a chance to respond, he spotted a figure advancing towards him out of the darkness.
The biggest moray eel I've ever seen. He was 8 to 9 feet long, and his girth was the size of my thigh. That's a very frightening experience to have 8-9 foot of eel moving directly at your chest.
The eel latched onto Rudy's lobster bag, and the ensuing struggle began to churn up silt from the ocean floor.
The cave became one big, large cloud of dust. You could not see past your face mask. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know up from down, left from right. I couldn't see my partner. I couldn't see with my light. It would give me no sense of direction. All I could see was the cloud of particles suspended in front of my mask. I started to panic. I didn't know if the eel was going to attack me, bite me. I couldn't find my way out. I started bouncing off the walls looking for the opening to the cave. I knew suffocation was not a pleasant way to die, and here I was in a cave getting ready to suffocate. Someone grabbed me from behind and began guiding my body, and that feeling was a feeling of safety, a feeling of being embraced and held and being okay, and I just totally relaxed and went limp, and that someone took me out of the cave. I don't know how I got out of that cave with my equipment on. I don't know. That was the most gut-wrenching decision I've ever made in my life. The number one first priority to a Navy diver is never leave your buddy.
Rudy ascended, not having time to decompress along the way. He hurriedly changed his air tank and grabbed a spare tank of air for his friend. But Scott surfaced before he could get back into the water.
He spit his regulator out, he gasped for a breath of air, and just hung on the side of the boat for a little bit. He looked like he was already dead. In fact, I thought he might have gotten the bends and been sick.
Once Scott recovered enough to talk, they marveled over the fact that they both had risen to the surface without pausing to decompress.
We should have been perhaps paralyzed, or worse, brain dead. And yet we were alive without any symptoms. When Scott got in the boat, he asked me how I had gotten him out of the cave. I told Scott that I hadn't got him out of the cave, that I thought he had gotten me out of the cave. God moved in and interceded in my behalf, saved me for a purpose that I've yet to discover. It was a divine moment. I was being given a second chance. It was something that touched my life and has continued to touch my life ever since it happened. So, to me, it's a miracle.
So there you are. They should have had the bends, which I'm sure most people know what the bends is, especially your side of the water. But you know,
Wow.
it's a fascinating thing again, where they felt the physicality of somebody lifting them out, because they each thought it was the individual, the other person that was doing it. It's an incredible thing. So he's yet to discover why he's been rescued all this time on. So what are your thoughts?
Well, darling, I just get anxiety just seeing where they are down in that little cave where they've got to push their water. You know, so that cave would have only been about this wide.
Yeah.
Where they've got to push their tank through. Oh my God, I'm having an anxiety attack just thinking of it.
Yeah,
okay, but let's just get on point here. When he said he heard the voice that said "get out," and then it said "get out now," that is how she talks to me.
Right.
Right. She doesn't always say "get out." She might say "go outside."
Yeah.
And then I'll go, what? She'll say, go outside now.
Yeah.
Because there's that urgency.
Yeah.
So he, you know, we can debate forever who that person was that said those words.
Yeah.
Was it a spirit guide? Was it a deceased relative?
Yeah.
Was it a ghost?
Was it the higher self?
I was getting there. You know, after you go past ascended masters, archangels, and all the rest of the angels.
Yeah.
Was it his own higher self telling him that intuition? Okay. You know, because someone asked me just the other day, who is she? And I said, well, you know, in my book, I call her a guardian angel, but it ultimately, if I start talking about higher self, I'm going to lose a lot of my readers who can't fathom that depth of consciousness. And I didn't want to make that book 5 Years in Heaven that depth of conscious awareness. So I just stopped when I got to angels, because it's something that people can fathom, that is a higher being that is out there in the universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he could have been here in his own higher self connecting to him.
Yeah.
Okay. But ironically, the one that popped up the second guy that came up out of the water, he said, "Thank you for getting me out." So how the hell did they get out of this little tiny area with their scuba gear on?
Yeah.
You know, I have worn scuba gear back in the 80s. You know, my friend had a pool and he was a diver, so he used to practice in his pool.
Yeah.
And I put it on just to feel how heavy it was. And it's big, it's bulky. So, you know, we talk about time slips. Hello, we were just talking about it with Noah 2030, where we can be in two places at once. But what about space slips?
Yeah.
Where two, you know, this is what I'm talking about now in my ghost book, where we have this spatial distortion is what it's called. It's a scientific term. And two entities or beings can occupy the same amount of space at the same time.
Yeah.
We spoke about it just last week with that lady who was having that head-on collision.
Yeah.
And the cars seemed to meld through each other.
Yeah.
They didn't collide.
Yeah.
So it's called spatial distortion, where something and something else goes into the same space. Okay? So, you know, that's the only way I can fathom that those guys' scuba gear would have had to have melded or joined in the space, you know, that location space of the rocks around that cave.
Yeah.
So I can sort of give a scientific terminology as to what happened there. But, you know, for him to hear the get out now before the eel arrived,
and that
in itself
bloody big eel as well.
And that was enough for the story.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That was enough right there.
Yeah.
You know? But for them to have that like spatial distortion as well, where their scuba gear would have had to have distorted with the rocks of that wall, that in itself is another story. You know, so we've got two paranormal events, plus the fact that they didn't get the bends.
That's incredible. To not get the bends. I mean,
so, you know, this is where I go, Mike. Is this our higher self? Where is our higher self capable of healing ourselves? You know, because this woman with me, she has healed me on many times over the years.
Yeah.
You know, she has healed me many times over the years. And, you know, not just my broken neck, but also my brain tumor. When I was admitted with pneumonia back in the 80s into hospital, the next morning I was released. You know, I was only in hospital for 11 hours, you know, because she healed me that night. So do our higher selves have that capacity to heal? You know, that's something that we could debate for a couple of hours or just make one show out of, you know. But at this point, you know, to keep it simple with people who are trying to fathom what I'm talking about there, it is far easier just to identify these beings as angels.
Yeah.
You know, as angels.
Yeah.
Because it is a miracle. And some line in some movie I saw one time, I know it was a girl, it was an actress in this movie, and she said miracles are only a scientific theory that hasn't been proven.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, that's why in this book about ghosts and spirits that I'm writing up now, that's why I'm putting in all the scientific formulations. You know, thermodynamics, how do ghosts create hotspots? You know, you walk into a room and you walk into that cold spot or the hot spot. You know, so I'm putting all these theories out there to make people think about how science and the paranormal actually work. Because at this point there is it's so separated, science to meta-science. And I'm trying to dissolve that veil between the two. So, you know, string theory, quantum mechanics all comes into how ghosts and angels, deceased relatives can come in, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you know, we'll do your competition, I think, next. But before we do that, Tanya was talking about Black Douglas, and she's related distantly to Black Douglas. She had a visitation from Black Douglas. I got to confess, I have no idea who Black Douglas is, even though he is from Scottish background. So I'm going to look that up, Tanya, and I'll be very interested to hear more about that story from
Yeah.
you, actually.
Very good. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and Kimberly
so,
says, please let us know when it's completed. So, yeah.
well, yeah, so Kimberly, I got 45 pages written in it today. It is Ghost Exposed, so that's already 100 pages, but I'm taking out all the fluff and I'm putting, book 1 is now just science. Book 2, book 1 is consciousness. Is it our consciousness that makes us a ghost or a spirit?
Right.
So I talk about a ghost. Then book 2 is science. Book 3 is psychology, talking about cognitive behaviors of a ghost. Then book 4 is spirit. So it's all my spirit stories, how they pop through, what they can do, what they can't. Book 5 is now ghosts, all those stories, I went to a house and a ghost came out, those sort of stories. And then the last one is all the Q&As. Now, it's the Q&As that are making me so excited because there's 3 chapters. Chapter 1, what can we ask a ghost? Chapter 2 is all of the questions that we never ask a ghost. Do you know that you're dead? We should never ask a ghost that because it's very traumatic if they don't know that they've died.
He'll go, WTF.
Yeah. My name is Ian. Sorry, Ian. I don't want to compare you to a ghost. I'm a man. You're lovely. And then chapter 3 is all the questions ghosts ask humans. Ooh. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting read.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't put it on that perspective. You hear all these ghost stories, but no one ever puts it in out there. What do the ghosts actually ask humans? Yeah. So I'm making a list of, I'm compiling that while I'm writing it. Yeah. So, Mike, I do have a competition running on Dr. Linda Kramer Paranormal Group. I have received 13 comments from people. So if you just want to pick a number between 1 and 13 inclusive, okay, they'll get a copy of my book. I'll contact them and say, congratulations. Email me and I'll reply with my book attached, okay? Yeah.
Okay.
1 to 13, Mike.
1 to 13. Ka-ching. Number 3.
Number 3. And that would be, excuse how I say this name, but comment number 3 was from Claudia Fusca. Okay, so she's 1, and I'm feeling generous, Mike, so let's just do another one. A number between 1 and 13, excluding number 3, obviously.
6.
Number 6.
Hayley Stevens says number 7, and Joanne says number 8. So,
well, let me just see. Hang on. Number 8. Hang on. Number 7. Well, I will tell you guys. Okay. Hang on, guys. I'm going to tell you, you've stuffed up your numbers because number 2 comment was from Kimberly, who said that she enjoyed reading the book. So I've eliminated her name because she's already got it last week. So comment 3 is actually number 2, okay? So Tanya, you're actually number 8 on the list. Joanne Martin, you're not even on the list, Joanne. Oh my gosh. Hayley, hang on, have I got Hayley on the list? No, you've got to comment on my group, guys, to win a copy. All right, so I'll just go there. So Claudia Fushka, she's 1, and so is Eugene, oh my gosh, Ferreira. Ferreira. Sorry, Eugene. I'm sorry, but I will contact these 2 people and let them know that they've won my book, okay? Okay? Yeah, because, hello, we'll be having more competitions, guys, because, Ghost Exposed is nearly finished. So, of course, I'm going to be promoting that one as well. Hello! Yay, I can't wait to get this one finished as well. Okay? So, there you go, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, oops, sorry, have all your other books, though. Yeah, I know, Hayley, you're gorgeous, darling girl. Well, Hayley, just because you do have my books, if you email me at linda@lindaray.info, I'll send you this one as well. There you go, Hayley. All right? Yeah.
Super. Okay.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
So
So
we'll-
there's our competition done for another week.
Yeah, we'll see
Yay.
what we
So
can come up
I
with
did
next
have a
week.
list of the comments, guys. I'll just do it quickly. So I did have a list of comments, okay? So I know who's who.
Okay.
Alrighty. I'll contact them later. Yep.
Alrighty. So moving on, the NDE of Nancy Rynes.
Right.
And, you know, we were talking off air about the current situation and why so many people have done this and done that. And as one of the things that we discussed, and we leave this out to you to have your thoughts on it, is that people at some point must have had a contract to come here and do this or not do it, but to do something else.
We've all got, okay, so this is how I explain it to people, Mike. We all have a life contract. We don't remember what our life contract is, so please try not to work out other people's because we don't even remember our own. Secondly, well, that's a big one. Yeah, I have trouble, and I've been to my life review, and I've spoken to my great-great-great-great-grandmother who told me all about my life, my contract, but I still trying to work it out. And I've got all that insider knowledge from my deceased relative. But the thing is, guys, we can never judge why people do things because it's only when we make a mistake that we learn from the mistake. And it's only when we are, you know, we don't know. Somebody may be born in 10 lives where they're always thrown money at them. They're rich and famous. They don't have a clue how the strugglers survive in reality. So their next life, they might come in as a homeless man to learn that flip side of generosity. If you're somebody who has been sheltered, protected from your parents, where, you know, you've always, you know, your parents will always give you the umbrella regardless whether it's raining or not. They protect you that well. You know, you'll come back as a mass murderer. So then you know that pain of hurting somebody else. So we can't judge why somebody has a life lesson because we don't know where they are in that progression of their lessons, okay? All right? So don't try and work it out.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
Everybody's got their own lessons.
I'll tell you one thing, Linda. I'm trying to connect with a lawyer in spirit because I want my contract changed. And all right, because
well, we do have our clauses in and out. You know, that's one thing. We do have the clauses where we can change things around. You know, and that's fine. You know, we also have, what do they call them? Where our soul actually leaves our body and a new soul comes in. The takeovers or something. I don't know. If you know the word I'm looking at. Sorry?
It's something like a soul exchange or something like this.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, so we can have those as well. You know? So, you know, you just say, my time's up. I've had enough of this, Linda. You know, no, don't. Sorry, because, you know, I've just put that intention out. So I've got to always cut that down and delete it and tell her, no, I'm not, you know, I'm just surmising here. It's not an intention. But, yeah, we do have changes to our contracts, okay?
Yeah, Tanya says walk-ins. My understanding...
Walk-ins, that's the one. I mean, thank you so much.
My understanding of a walk-in is something that isn't actually positive. This might just be a difference of teachings. But a walk-in, what I was taught, wasn't necessarily a good spirit. It was something that came uninvited, so to speak. But you may have a different interpretation of that. But a walk-in will do for me as well.
Well, I like the way that you just said that, Mike. Yes. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of reasons why we can have walk-ins. Let's just go there. And it's not something that's proven, so we're all only surmising. We've only got our theories or opinions, you know. So that's why I like saying the words "in my personal opinion," because then, you know, we've all got those. You know?
Well, here's an interesting one, Tanya. Like a diebook.
What's a diebook?
Yeah, I was hoping that was an Aussie thing. But
never heard of it.
Okay,
never heard
maybe
of that
Tanya,
one.
you could just clarify that for us.
Yeah. Well, maybe while we're watching this NDE, I'll research it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
let's get into it, Mike, because we're pushing on for time.
Let's watch this NDE. lovely lady. I think you'll enjoy this one. Here we go.
It was January 3rd of 2014. I'll never forget that morning. It was a beautiful sunny day. I decided to go out on a bike ride. I needed to do some errands around town. There was a little voice inside of me that just said to not go out riding that day. I don't know where that came from, but I ignored it. I got about a mile, well, not quite a mile from my home, and I could see some traffic coming in on the right. At the very last minute, I realized that first car wasn't going to stop. I knew in a flash that I was going to die right there. It was a woman driving a big SUV, and she hit me broadside. I put my hand out like this to try to veer off my bike the other direction. I ended up flipping onto the top of her hood and looked in. I think she was so focused on her phone that she didn't know that she had hit anything or anyone. So I ended up pinned between her vehicle and the road as she drove. As my shoulder hit the pavement and my body hit the pavement, I had an interesting thing happen. I had what I call a sense of dual consciousness. Me underneath the vehicle, being dragged under this vehicle. But at the same time, I saw the whole accident unfold from a position of 50 to 75 feet outside of everything. I see myself laying under the vehicle in pain, in screaming. I saw a woman struggling to hang on to life.
Nancy Rynes wrote about her story in her book, Awakenings from the Light, 12 Life Lessons from a Near-Death Experience. Welcome, Nancy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Because 3 days later, you had a major surgery.
Right.
And what happened?
So during the surgery, my heart rate stopped for a brief time, and my breathing went to zero. My blood pressure dropped precipitously. And it was in that moment that I found myself waking up. And I thought, wow, this is great, because around me was this beautiful hillside surrounded by flowers and trees and a beautiful mountain range in the distance. And a sense of peace and love and welcoming that I had never felt before. And I knew something was different.
And like with Sherry, it wasn't panic, it wasn't fear,
No.
It wasn't scary.
No, not at all. No, I felt a little confused at first, and then I thought to myself, I must have died. I wonder if I died. But then if I did, why am I here? Because I don't believe in any of this.
Right, I'm an atheist. What's happening? Could it be I was wrong?
Exactly.
And what about that? Because you came back.
Right.
And what information did you take away from that? What lesson?
Well, I was welcomed in to heaven, what I call heaven, immediately. When I had that thought of, I wonder if I died, and if I did, why am I here? There was a welcoming voice that said, because you are my child. This is your home. Welcome home.
Was there hesitation about returning back
For
here?
me, yes.
Like you might have just stayed there.
There was a part of me that really wanted to stay because of the peace and the love. The love was incredible, and the connection to everyone and everything was incredible. I was connected not only to my family here on Earth, but also to everyone else in that place.
So what made you come back?
What made me come back was that I had agreed to do this before I was born. And I was reminded of that while I was there.
That you had more business left to finish.
Right. And I said there was at some point a womanly guide came and kind of helped me out. And I said to her, I don't remember agreeing to do this. And so she showed me on this kind of a screen in the sky of me standing in front of all of my family and friends, agreeing to do certain things. And this was one of them.
There you are. A couple of things there, Linda. Being in two places at the same time. Not being dead, feeling the pain and the anxiety at the same time, seeing this and being at peace. I'm not saying I had an NDE when I was a kid in the same way that you had, but that did trigger a kind of thing where I do remember seeing my body slumped over the bed because I swallowed a marble, and me just sitting there looking very calmly, watching my mum come in and pound the back of me to boom, put this marble come out.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really dead. I was in that in between state. But what also is interesting is what we spoke about is that, damn it, she agreed to do this. You know?
Well, we all agree to do whatever we do in our lives,
Yeah.
Mike. It's just if we really, 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 at the time, you know, it's all right to say, oh, in 10 years I'm going to jump off a cliff. And then you're standing there on the cliff and you think, wow, do I really want to go ahead with that? You know, even though there's a big trampoline at the bottom, so you're going to be safe. You know, I don't want to hurt or harm anybody. But, you know, yeah. I've written some stuff down here. Always trust the gut. That little voice to not go out riding that day.
Yeah.
This is similar to what Rudy Smith got in his video where he was down getting the lobsters. Get out now.
Yeah.
So she's also got this voice, which thank goodness when I hear stories where other people are hearing voices, so I don't seem, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She spoke about that dual consciousness. And yes, because when I was in heaven, I was a dual consciousness. You know, I talk about the lady who I was following for kilometers and kilometers, and she was just out strolling down, casually walking down the street. And I was her being aware that I was following me because I was her.
Right.
So I fully understand this dual consciousness. You know, when I was in the water, I was looking at the water, but I was also the water looking back at me. It was, you know, I understood it at the time because it was natural. You know, it felt natural. But now that I'm back in this three-dimensional world alive, it seems so strange, you know. And I loved how she said the beautiful hillside surrounded by flowers and trees. That could be the exact same spot where I was standing when I turned up there.
Right.
And then she goes on. Beautiful hillside surrounded by flowers and trees and a beautiful mountain range off in the distance. Now, the way I explain it was I found myself in this field of flowers and I could see all the mountains off in the distance with all the trees and the buildings, which makes me think in heaven, now this is obviously just a joke, I hope, but wouldn't it be interesting because I've heard so many people that say when they die, they find themselves in this field of flowers.
Right.
Wouldn't it be funny if that was the landing spot? You know?
The Elysian
we got a
Fields.
new arrival. Here they come. And they come down in that same spot. Because I'm starting to think that there is something to this. Because there's so many people, you know, when they get to heaven, the people who actually make it to there, you know, past where they're floating and etc. But they all say I was in this field of flowers and there was mountains off in the distance. So I thoroughly believe that she was there. But then she said something else that really got the goosebumps going up my back. She was talking about the womanly guide who she didn't see, but they were there.
Right.
And if you've read my book, this is already published, by the way. Well, it's not through a publisher, but, you know, I've given it out. It's finished. But I talk about this woman who I believe is her, was sitting there tapping me on the shoulder, directing me of all the different areas that I went to. So I also had that womanly guide. So, you know, Nancy Rynes, oh, my God, this NDE that she had, it gave me the goosebumps because of the similarities. You know, we all have different perspectives of where we go, obviously, you know, because we create what we think. But we all have these same similarities that just can't be disputed. There's no denying the reality of these experiences anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
do you also,
it can't be made up.
Do you also think, Linda, that because, you know, we've heard other NDEs with Howard Storm last week, military man, tough, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And we've had the other experience of a guy was, if you can't see it, hear it, breathe it, touch it, it doesn't exist. They did not have the Elysian Fields type of experience. So do you think this is also personality in a way that you're presented with this atmosphere in order to keep you calm and familiar with the love energy that you like?
I don't think it has anything to do with our personality,
right,
at all. It's to do with our characteristics, which
right.
are totally different. And it's funny how I've just written about that today in my 45 pages that I've just added to this ghost book. Personality is the behaviors that we acquire through society. Yeah. Okay? So if someone's nasty to you, you either become withdrawn or you become a bully yourself.
Yeah.
So it's behaviors that we get through society, whereas characteristics are what's innate within us that we've had since before we were born. If you're born kind, it doesn't matter what a bully will do to you through society, you will stay kind because it's your natural traits, okay? Yeah. So I believe that when we go to heaven, that's our characteristics that we stay aligned with, okay? We stay aligned with them. But what happens is people do have these personality traits that they've acquired through interactions with other humans that can create those regrets, those grudges, right. those jealousies, insecurities, hatreds, etc., all that negative emotion, because there's no negativity in heaven, No baby is born angry. Let's just go there, okay? No baby is born angry. So we acquire all this negativity that then manifests within our brains, the synaptic network of our brain where we create what we think. And that's why these people that go to hell have these hellish experiences, these hell loops. I'm a firm believer that the more negative thoughts that we have and where we have that intention of harm or, we can all make mistakes. Yeah. I'm the first to admit I've made more mistakes than I dare to say, but I have forgiven myself for those mistakes. I have dealt with the traumas that I gave to others, and I've also delved deep into my own psyche where I can say, you know what, Linda, I forgive you for what you've done. And that's what we were speaking about before when I was talking about embarrassment and confidence. Yeah. You can only reach those levels of, like, I dare to say enlightenment, but it is sort of like an enlightenment where you deal with all your own KRAP. What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What makes you angry? Because anger is always just another... It's a reaction to something else that's going on. So no one ever just gets angry. There's always a deeper reason why we get angry. So I thoroughly believe, just to finish it here, that the more we forgive ourselves first, because, hello, we're the first ones that matter, and you look at everything in your life, that's why I've written that book called The Teaching of Heaven. It's attached to my book. So it makes up to that 369 pages, right. How to deal with all the KRAP in our lives. So we do go to this heaven. We do land on that landing strip in this field of flowers where so many people have said they turn up at. So, I want to be in heaven and just look back and see if there's like a new arrivals. It's like the boards at the airport. Arrivals coming in soon. We have John Smith coming in from Iceland, and here he comes. Here, and he lands on the same spot where I landed. Yeah. Bloop. It would be funny, because, obviously other people would see it when I arrived there. They would have seen me arrive. And, it makes sense now. I wish I'd written this in my book, but it actually makes sense why when I turned up there, no one paid me much attention. Right. Because they were all just off doing their own thing. And I was like, oh, what are you all doing? what is over
Oof.
there? Wow, look at those mountains. But as soon as I thought about the mountains, I was there and I was climbing the mountains, because we think, we create. So if we think positively, we're going to create that positive heaven. But if we're thinking negative thoughts, if we're jealous, if we're nasty to people and we blame others for basically things that we ourselves have done, you know, all those negative things, we will create that hell loop that people do go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the earth plane as well. We create a hell loop by, you know, look, forgive the perpetrator, not to exonerate them, but to free yourself.
That's exactly right.
It's that simple.
Karma.
Yeah.
Now, you know, we haven't even touched on karma yet. Karma is a pain in the butt, because it can happen instantaneously, or it could happen 150,000 lives later. It has no time when karma returns itself.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And karma is ultimately the perspective of what we do to others and ourselves. You know, so if we're nasty to someone else and we we'll go there with like attacking people and stalking them on Facebook or sending them nasty messages, that energy that you're creating by doing those nasty things, it will come back and bite you on the butt.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's tenfold.
And the thing is,
you know, it's tenfold.
The thing is this as well, before we just do our last segment, is that my experience, karma actually is neither good nor bad. It just is.
It's the correction of the energies.
Right.
And it really is.
We have good karma. When we do something good for people, then the good karma, the good energy comes in and creates something nice for us. So
karma's not always bad, guys. No. You know, we always, you know, most humans in society, we only use karma. Oh, karma's going to bite that guy on the butt, because we don't see it as yin and yang.
No.
We only talk about the bad side of karma. But good karma, it totally is. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, people ask me all the time, how often do I advertise? I don't advertise.
No.
Because as soon as I put out that karmic energy that I want people to come, it's like they just appear. I don't have to advertise. I don't have to promote myself. You know, I said last week, next week, so it's this week, I actually put it out there to the universe and I said, you know what? I really don't want to do any readings next week because I want to get this book done. And I'll show you my book. No readings booked for a whole week. See? Yeah. And then, you know, you go back, you know, look how busy I get. I won't hold it up. But, you know, you can see how busy I get, Mike, with readings. And I actually put that intention a couple of days ago. I said, look, I want a week off with no readings because I need to get onto this book. Because I feel that there is, she's telling me as well, there is this massive need for it, you know, where the healing occurs.
Right.
And isn't that great that the heal card was what I got for my first tarot. I loved it, you know. Oh, my God. So I'm so keen to start doing more tarot on a weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
All right, so we've still got to have a look at the Seatbelt Psychic. Yeah, I love this guy.
We've seen him before. He's also known as Thomas John, and he's an excellent medium.
Yeah.
So let's just run this because we got a scudaddle, as we say. So here we go.
Yep.
So do you guys believe in psychics?
We're not closed-minded.
Good.
To anything.
I was asking because I'm a psychic. That's why I was asking.
So tell me. What do you see? Good things. What do you feel?
What do I feel about you guys?
I see you going, what is it?
Just, I just have to, don't tell me extra things because I don't want you to lead me somewhere, but I do feel there's a father energy that's coming through, but I think it's the man's father. Is your father passed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a Jerry?
Yeah.
Who's that?
That's my dad.
Yeah. Is there a younger person that your father would be with? Like, have you lost somebody young?
We lost a baby.
Yeah, it's interesting because it feels like somebody's talking about, was it a son?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a very young energy. Was he born with like some sort of medical issue or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had 3 open heart surgeries.
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah, it was the saddest month of our life, like most wearing month ever.
Wow.
My whole family, you
I can
know.
imagine. When somebody comes through and they're very young, like a baby or an infant, I mean, it's a little bit of a different connection than somebody who comes through and they're like 60 years old, because they have a lot of memories that they can pull from. But I do feel like I am getting a strong message from the baby. You know what will just help me? Can you give me his first name?
Ryder.
Ryder. He's talking about his brother that is here. Well, I don't want to scare you, but there was an accident. His brother almost died, and Ryder intervened.
Wow.
Brilliant. Brilliant medium. And if you do want to have a reading with Thomas John, just pull up $1,600 and you'll have one of the best readings you'll ever have.
Is that how much you used, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say pull up on the local corner and stick your arm out for the taxi, you know? But then you said $1,600 and I like pulled my hand back and went, what?
Yeah.
Is that how much he charges for a reading, is it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't judge, you know, but
Well,
he
you know,
does get, he's a very good medium.
The thing is this, Linda, that some people charge a lot, some people don't charge, some people do by donations. The point is this, you go to who you can afford, and if you can't afford $1,600, then more fool you for going to pay $1,600. There's many things I want that I can't afford, so I can't afford, for example, just as an example, like an $8,000 television. So
well,
I don't have it.
Can I just throw in my 10 cents worth?
Yeah.
Because that's all I can afford these days. I've always wanted the red Ford Mustang.
Yeah.
So I've bought, you know, back in 2012, because I've still got her, I've got a red Ford Fiesta.
Right.
So I call her Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Because she's 2 out of 3 ain't bad, because I've always wanted the red Ford Mustang, but I got the red Ford Fiesta. So I've got 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's more so what we, you know, because at the end of the day, monetary value does not matter when we go to heaven, guys. There's no money in heaven. We don't walk around with wallets and credit cards, okay? You know, if you want an apple, well, we don't have to eat for a start, so you don't have to get food.
No.
But, you know, if you want to admire an apple, you just put your hand out and you've got the most beautiful apple in your hand because we think we can create it.
Yeah.
You know, all you got to do is remember your favorite pair of shoes that you had when you were a kid, and instantly you're wearing them.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
You know, because it's that perspective. You know, we think we create. Yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to throw in my little car, you know, my little Ford Red Fiesta.
Well, I tell you what, I'd like to leave people on this thought since you brought it up. You know, in heaven, what you think you attract, and there's many people down here that I've heard them say, spiritual people, for example. I've taken the dump because I'm going to prove that my mind can overcome all the adversities and whatever. So, okay, let's get some things right here. If you're highly evolved and you're absolutely of this enlightened state, there are many, many things that you can do, and that would be one of them. Unfortunately, many of us are deluded in believing that we're at a higher spiritual resolution than what we actually are. And the fact is that your mind is not capable of overcoming some of these really strong adversities. And so you should be very careful. And somebody pointed it out. You can say all this And you can say, my mind is going to tell me that the sun isn't going to rise tomorrow because my mind is strong. Yeah, you do that. The sun is still going to rise tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're not
Can
that
I
enlightened.
just...
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just point out a quote you've just reminded me of?
Yeah.
It's a quote, and it says, in order to defeat your enemies, you must first know your enemies. The thing with this thing, we don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
No one's releasing the ingredients. Nobody knows, because it's all about intention. How can we put out an intention to stop a particle that's in this vial when we don't know what that vial contains?
Unless, of course, you're extremely highly evolved human.
Well, that's
in
right.
The spiritual form.
But I don't really know anyone at that level.
Well,
you know?
I'll tell you something very briefly. A shaman I knew, very highly evolved soul. These yuppies invited him to a dinner party, and they put these little chocolate treats and filled him with cocaine. And because they wanted to trick him, to see him get high and crazy.
Yeah.
But he was a highly evolved shaman. He knew. He took one.
Yeah.
Lovely, I'll have another one. And he kept eating them. They had no effect on him. And these people were gobsmacked. But he was extremely, extremely highly evolved. If I was to do it, I'd be out of my nut, probably, because I am not that far evolved. I don't think. Anyway.
Well, I don't put myself even halfway up the ladder of evolvement, Mike. You know, that's why I'm in this meager, feeble existence that I'm in.
Yeah.
You know, I am very humbled. You know, I'm extremely humbled by being able to, you know, the lady, I just did an interview for another NDE podcast, and she's got less than 50 subscribers. I don't give a heck how many she's got. I don't care if it was a brand new channel and I was the first video.
Right.
Because the fact that she is trying her best.
That's all we can do.
That is all I consider. You know, I don't look for fame and glory. I don't look for name on the plaque type thing, because it's menial in heaven. We can all have the plaque if we want it, and because we can all do it, that's why nobody does it. You know, because you'd be sick and tired of seeing everybody else's plaque, so you'd build it. You know, so there's no ego.
No.
And I think that's the biggest thing here. There is no ego. You know, when we look at people, obviously this, I actually say, Mike, the reason why I would ever increase my prices is because my time is so valuable to me.
Well, you got one up on me, Linda, because...
Well, darling, I do get quite busy, okay, because I've got a daughter,
I have a price structure to begin with. Which
you've got Elizabeth and 2 cats. I've only got 1 cat, Mike, so you're already busy just there. I know what my 1 cat does, and all she does is sleep all day.
Well, I tell you, you haven't seen, but the little white cat here is absolutely disgusted that I'm talking to you and not feeding her right now. So well,
mine's asleep in bed already. You know, well, fair enough. She does that 48 hours a day anyway. Please note that was not a typo. 48 hours a day my cat sleeps. If she's not eating, if she's not asleep, she eats. You wonder why she's so fat. But, you know, she's in retirement because she's had a hard life. You know, she was feral. She didn't have a home before she came here. So, you know, guys, treat people with kindness. We don't know what's happened to them in their past. If there's something to leave the show with tonight, you know, accept everybody. Don't judge or accuse them why they're doing something. It's menial. All you're showing is how negative you are within yourself, and it's something for you to heal within yourself.
And, of course,
when we do attack or accuse someone, why are they doing that? You know, I don't like the questions that start with why, where, how, when. Why haven't you taken out the bin? Because that's accusing. When we're saying, why haven't you taken out the bin? That's accusing. turn it around and say, do you mind taking out the bin at some point? Because that builds confidence in the other person. That builds self-esteem. And it also shows that you're not higher than anybody else. So that's just a simple trick at the end of the day, guys. Think about how you talk if you're using how, when, why, or when in your sentences, because that is accusing. You're belittling another person, which we can't do because we're all equal.
Of course, accepting someone doesn't mean you have to like them. It just means it just means accepting them. We're not a dollar bill. Exactly we can't be liked by everyone. And so, listen, Linda. On that note, I've got to prepare for my German lesson today.
And I love you. I love everybody listening. So I have been contacted by Claudia. If I spelt that right, she has replied on my post. Eugene Ferrara. Sorry if I just I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Sorry, Eugene. But if you are listening, please email me and I'll send you over my book for free. Yay!
On that note, Linda, I've got a dash.
Happy birthday, anybody that's having a birthday. Happy non-birthday to those not. Catch us next week, guys.
See you,
Thank you so much for being here. Bye.
Bye.